Gigi Jean. How you doing today?
I am doing well. How are you?
Gigi, I'm doing all right. I want to know this before we go anywhere. Is there something that you feel you pay attention to more than you probably should that other people tend to overlook?
I would say like when I'm watching movies or TV shows, I always try to see if they have a prop, if that prop is always there in the scene. So,
You almost freaked me out because that was kind of where I was going with mine. So you're looking for continuity, right? You want to make sure
yeah,
that they keep
yeah.
this. I'm actually very interested in the credits. I like to like read and see who like actually produced the movie and like directed
Oh,
all the like write the movie, and I'm just like into that. And I feel like most people don't care.
yeah.
I thought we were going to go on the same plane there for a second. That would be the first time ever that anybody's said the exact same thing. We're close. I
Woohoo!
definitely will take it. But on the side of insurance, kind of moving over into that area, I was curious if there was something that you maybe feel that you pay attention to that nobody else, I don't want to say does, but it's more important to you than maybe it should be.
I would say I always think on the longevity of the policy. Like if I'm writing a policy, I always think like 6 to 12 months. I'm like, okay, we got to make sure that 6 months from now or 12 months from now, just in case something happens, we want to make sure that we're prepared. So I'm always thinking ahead.
And what does that preparation look like for you guys? What is that conversation? How do you guys handle it?
I think it's just mostly getting to know your client because, as you know, insurance is complicated. So, wanting to know why do you want this insurance? Not because the state requires it or your lender require it. What exactly do you need protection from? Just getting to know the need from your client and seeing the best policy that's tailored to them.
Now, Gigi, this is the first time I think we've ever done this, but a little bit of a unique circumstance. We just talked to a guest that you are probably very familiar with, and your husband. I'm curious to know, like, the inside dealings of deciding or being, I guess, in the industry together on not working on the same team, and what that experience was like, and how you guys saw it from different angles, and ultimately then decided to sort of come together and do your own thing.
It's weird that both of us actually were in the insurance industry. I started in the insurance industry first, and then I brought him along. And he started off captive, and I've always been independent. The agency that he was working in, our clientele were two different clienteles, so we would learn from each other. So when we started our agency, it worked out great because he knew something different than I did, and we brought everything together. I think that's why we work well together because we're always learning from each other. We have different views because we worked in two different agencies. But it's been good.
I can just see a scenario where disputes are settled being I've been independent longer, I've been in the business longer. Have you ever
I
had to pull that one
win.
out? Yeah, I feel like that's a good leverage card there to play.
And what's funny too is even though I have been in the insurance industry longer than my husband, a lot of clients, a lot of individuals always go to my husband first, you know, because a lot of I guess when in the insurance industry, there's not a lot of women in the insurance industry, you know, and a lot of people think that women just do CSR work and stuff like that. But I'm like, no, 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 no. I got this.
Is that so? I mean, is that something that you feel? I guess how do you maybe work around that, or obviously you're working maybe from a disadvantage in some cases. What do you find has been helpful for you to make sure that that's not you're not overlooked, and that like you said, like obviously you have tons of experience, but somebody else in another position who might be dealing with similar things. What have you found to sort of navigate around that?
I stand my ground. I think that's what it is. I know there was this one situation when we first opened our agency. I had a client. My husband was dealing with another client, and I was open. So he came to me, and from his whole persona, you can tell that he did not even want to deal with me, you know?
Hmm.
And so I'm giving him the quote, and he's not interacting with me. I like to talk with my client. I'm a very personable person, and he's not interacting with me. So I gave him the quote. And then when I gave him the quote, he turns around to my husband and he
Hmm.
says, "What do you think about this?" I know.
Huh.
And
Hmm.
so my husband was like, well, I don't even need to look at it because if she give you a quote, it's probably better than what I was going to give you. And I remember at that time feeling so belittled, because I've been in the insurance industry. I have my licenses, I'm experienced. Who are you to come here and tell me that I don't know what I'm doing or second guessing me? And so I think from that day on, I just stood my ground.
Hmm.
It's every single day. It's a battle, you know. But now, like I said, I stand my ground, and so now when somebody comes in, now most of the time they're fighting to come to me instead of events, So it's hard, but I think we, as women in the insurance industry, we just need to stand our ground and don't let anybody belittle us.
And walk me through your sort of journey in the industry, like work coming up on the independent side. How is that different from, again, like you said, there are a lot of agencies that start out captive, right? And they
Yeah,
sort of learn from that experience. And then there are others that grow up in a family agency. And then you guys were able to leverage it from two different perspectives.
yeah.
What have you sort of attributed to get to where you are to being in your own agency, following that independent path? Like what has really led you to say, like, this is our thing, this is like, we need to do this? It's that important.
I've always loved the independent side. I never knew there was independent or captive until I got into the independent agency. I love the fact that you're not in a box. And so being in the independent agency, that's always been my niche. I love it. I love interacting with others. And then I had the opportunity to work at another independent agency where their clientele was completely different from the one that I started with. The premiums were higher. It was a high end, I guess, agency. So that opened my eyes to different opportunities than just writing auto and home. And I learned there's so much more to insurance than just auto or home. And so, with that knowledge, I knew once we started our agency, I wanted to kind of be like that middle ground, where we can serve the underserved community and we can also serve, I guess, the higher class community. I'm not sure if that's the word or not, but we wanted to serve as much people as we can. And the fact that we are the only Haitian owned agency for the whole state of Delaware, we're able to reach the Haitian speaking community, the Spanish speaking community, and the English speaking community. And that's a huge thing because, as you know, insurance is complicated as it is in English. Imagine
Very true.
another language, and trying to understand it. And so with that, we were able to just help those communities.
I mean, what kind of relief are you able to provide them? Because, like you said, insurance on its own is challenging. Is there sort of this like kind of deep exhale within that community to where, oh, finally we have somebody that can help make this even easier than before?
Yes, yes, it is. On a daily basis, we get like emails and texts, and everybody's saying thank you. I finally understand my policy. Even with homeowners policy, people didn't know what was being covered in their homeowners policy, and so, and I think when individuals see people that speak their language, that look like them, it makes them more comfortable, and that trust is there. And in the beginning, it was hard because, if you're starting a business, if somebody doesn't trust you, they're not going to do business with you. But that's a barrier that we were able to break because of that trust.
What's your secret? What's the thing that you feel is most important to building that trust? Is there something that you sort of go to when you're looking to sort of give somebody that best first impression to sort of gain that trust?
I think a smile. Even on the phone, sometimes when I'm talking to my clients, they're like, I can hear your smile. And I think when you are your true self, your authentic self, that person lower their guard and that trust starts to build. And I think just smiling is a great way. Another thing too, I think that has brought trust to our agency is we do a lot of social media. So we're always doing TikToks and we're always doing Facebook and Instagram Reels, and we We make insurance fun. So we're always making it funny where you can learn, but in the same time, you're like, wow, this is actual funny.
I'm kind of curious. I don't think I've gotten the specific answer yet, but between the two of you, who came home first from a day at the separate agencies and said, "We need to do this together. We need to do this on our own"? Do you remember that day? Like, is it something that's like vivid,
It was
like stuck in your
events.
mind?
It was hands down events. We've always talked about it. With me, I was a little scared in the beginning because I had, at the time, I had a 1 year old and
Mm.
my daughter was 4 months. And I'm thinking, okay, like where we're going to get the money, how we're going to do this. But he was like, it's time. Let's do it. Let's take the risk. And I'm glad we did. That's one of the best decisions we ever did. So hands down, events was like, we're doing this. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Now that you're on the other side of it, like you said, it's the best decision. Where are you looking to go next? What's the next goal after sort of stepping out on your own? Like, where do you hope to take the agency?
We are hoping to expand to different states. We're looking at Maryland and opening about maybe two more locations in this upcoming year. I can't say it yet, but we are working on a project that's going where we're going to be the first in the state to do that involves insurance. So I'll keep you updated, but that's going to be a huge for our agency.
And I might have asked Ben's this question, but if there's somebody in a similar position, and I'm curious to get your perspective on it, that's in a spot in insurance where they feel like they want to do it on their own, or they're looking for a way to get to sort of their own space in the industry. What stands out to you as being maybe some of the most important things, or the most important thing that can help them get there that you sort of learned from along the way?
I would say experience. Get the experience. It's okay to start your agency depending on what product you want to sell, whether it be life, health, but you always want to get the experience because it's like you're learning hands on. I'm glad that before we opened our agency, I spent like 7, 8 years, you know, working in an agency. At that time, I never had the idea of opening my own agency. I just thought this is what I like to do and I'm going to do it. But I learned so much that when we transitioned to our own agency, we had so much knowledge. We had something, a pillar to stand on already. And I think that's what's kind of making our agency successful, is because we've been an insurance agency. Everybody knows us as insurance agents. So when we did open our agency, it wasn't as hard to get leads. A second thing I would say is it's going to be scary. I'm one of those people who were scared to start my agency. It's not easy, but if you feel like you're ready, go ahead and do it.
Is there a secret that you guys have in terms of, like you said, getting leads? I guess that's like the biggest thing. Like, how am I gonna go about getting the business, and then bringing them in, and what you do? Like, walk me through a little bit of that process of, like you said, reaching out, being in front of the community, and then how you handle them once they are through the door, and how that makes them feel comfortable.
Okay, let me tell you how we got our leads. Our agency is going on 4 years now, and we have never once purchased any leads. When we opened our agency, what Ebens did is that he went to every single store, laundromat, car dealership, anywhere there was a door, Ebens was there, and he had a flyer or his business card. Every Sunday, we were at different churches just promoting our business. That's what we did. And then in 2019 is when we opened. 2020, COVID
Hmm.
started, right? And so we couldn't go out. We couldn't do anything, like nothing, everything shut down. But because of all the hard work that we did in the beginning, a lot of individuals, they're like, oh, I saw your husband business card. I saw the flyer. And during COVID, one of our, because with insurance agent, our source of revenue is commission. So during COVID, one of our top carriers that we were like, at least we can pay the bills with this. We got our commission with them was $150.
Hmm.
And we're like, how are we going to pay the bills? you know? And so what we started doing at that time, everybody was in the same boat. And we connected with another organization where we took that commission money and we bought masks, we bought gloves, we bought hand sanitizers, we stood on different street corners. If anybody needed masks, gloves, hand sanitizers, you just come and get it. And that's what we started doing. And then from there, we did that for like about 4 months. And then from there, events was like, we want to do something for the kids. Let's do a back to school community event. From there, we pooled in our money. We bought book bags. We bought school supplies. And we started doing these community events, and you didn't have to be a client, you didn't have to live in the neighborhood. We had people coming from different states, and from there the community came together, and a lot of people start hearing about one way insurance, and because everybody was serving each other. And honestly, through our community events and from that $150 commission that we got, that we serve our community, I think that has helped us out a lot. Now we're going to our third year. We're still doing these community events. Everybody's coming in. It's amazing.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty amazing. Starting an agency, pretty much, I don't want to say from scratch, but pretty much from scratch, right?
Yeah, yep,
And
yep,
do it when you can't knock on doors anymore. That's pretty wild. And
yeah,
it seems like you found a pretty successful formula to, again, like you said, just invest in the community.
yeah.
Is there a bigger, better version? I'm assuming it's just like you said, continuing to reinvest in the community and do whatever you can.
Yes, I think that's about it. Because with our communities, because everybody businesses were shutting down, and then us, we're starting like in the midst of a pandemic, and we're still here, and we're blessed to say that. And we would not be here without our community. We wouldn't be here without them. People are always supporting us, even when individuals lost their jobs. And I'm like, it's okay. And they're like, no, we're not leaving you guys. We're gonna find a way to pay our insurance. So it's amazing. It's pretty amazing.
GJ, I got three more questions for you.
Okay.
And the first one is, what's one thing that you hope you never forget?
I hope I never forget where I come from. I was born in the Bahamas to Haitian parents who struggled so that their kids can be better than them. My mom and my dad, they never went to school. They don't write and they don't read, but they found a way for their kids to go to school, educate themselves. And now all of my brothers and my sister were all successful because of what my parents did. So I hope I never forget where I come from.
Now, on the other side of that, what is one thing you still have yet to learn?
I have yet to learn to be more extroverted. you know, I'm an introvert, and it's so weird that most business owners are introverts. So going out there, and putting myself out there every day, it's a struggle, but I'm still learning.
GJ, I'm going to say this real quick. I find that very hard to believe based
I
on the very short
know.
time that we've spent together,
I
but I will take you at
know.
your word.
Oh
I
no,
will
I'm an
take you at your
introvert.
word.
I really, my
All right.
personality is big, but I rather just be home.
Fair enough. I can definitely relate to that for sure. People are challenging sometimes. All right, Gigi. Last question to you: if I were to hand you a magic wand of sorts to reshape, change, alter, speed up, really any part of insurance, what's that thing? Where is it going? And what's it doing?
If you were to give me a magic wand to speed up insurance, I can I say two answers? Is that possible?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. The first thing I would say is I would speed up some underwriting processes, because some underwriting takes forever, you know? And the second thing that I would change is a better perspective of women in insurance, instead of thinking that men are up here and women are down here. It's leveled. It doesn't matter what your gender is. You're an insurance agent, and I'm going to treat you the same.
Gigi, this has been fantastic. I'm gonna leave it right there.
Thank you. And today's my birthday, by the way.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.